Today, we're going to be talking about something that we all have an experience with, whether we like to admit it or not, and that is lying. Lying, ashi, paro, oníparo. Like, as you already know, you know when things happen, you know where they happen, but the big question is usually why? Why do they happen? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why? And that why is the psychology that we are speaking about. Stick around, because at the end of this video, you're going to start thinking about some things you've heard and you'll be like, or some things that you have even said. And you're like, why did I even say that? That was so unnecessary. As you already know, my name is Chinazom, and I like to talk about the psychology of everything. So let's start off with the big question. Why do we lie? Right? A lot of people lie to avoid bad consequences or like escape certain things that they've done. But I think it's deeper than that. Like, a lot of people lie even when there's no reason to. Like, why does that happen? There are three major reasons, or four major reasons based on my experience and research. There are four major reasons why people lie. And well, the first one is self-preservation. We lie to protect ourselves from embarrassment, from conflict, to avoid punishment. It's a defense mechanism, period. But sometimes we lie even when nobody, or when there's no one accusing us of anything. And that's because we are still lying for self-preservation, to preserve our image. We want people to see us a certain way. It could be smarter, it could be kinder, it could be more successful than we actually feel inside. So, self-preservation. The second reason why people lie is to avoid hurting others. Have you ever heard of telling a white lie? Usually this kind of lie is harmless. You don't want to cause pain to others. It could be as small as telling somebody you like their haircut, you like their style, when it's really not your favorite. So we just do this because we feel like we need to say something that would not hurt them. It's still dishonesty, right? But yeah, we don't want to cause people pain, so we bend the truth a bit. The third reason people lie is social harmony, right? We want to fit in. We just want to feel like we are part of a group. Humans are social creatures generally, right? So we just agree with people's opinions when we don't actually dig what they're saying. Like, this person is saying BS, but you just laugh and say, oh yeah, true, blah, blah, blah. That's like a lie still, but like you just try to fit in. Sometimes the truth may cause the friction that you don't want to happen, right? So it's just like a social glue. Keep it moving. It helps keep the relationship intact or the friendship intact. So yeah, social harmony. The fourth reason people lie is to boost themselves up. These are people that generally exaggerate their achievements or like what they've done, just so that they create a basically delusion of grandeur. So you find out that some of the things that they say actually happen, but they just build these castles. Like, they just make it more than it's actually, like, more than the actual story is. The reason they do this, like, in a world where we need to measure up, people feel like they need to measure up or belong to a certain level of society. People overestimate or they over exaggerate their achievements just as a way to cope with their insecurities, but it's so unnecessary. um this just reminds me of secondary school or high school back then, when people say, oh, my father has this and that, I went to boarding school, right? But I think it happened everywhere, where people just like, oh, I've gone to social place and this and that. You know that people actually grew up with that stuff. People actually grew up with it, and it's yeah. Sometimes you're just like, ah, okay. So now we are going into a different dimension of this video. Let me stop before. We are going into a different aspect of this video, and it's like psychology behind this self-deception that I spoke about earlier. And what is like what how does self-deception happen? Self-deception is literally when you lie to yourself. Like, you lie to yourself and you convince yourself that that is the truth, so you stick with that lie for days, months, years, and whatever that is just like your reality, but it never happened. God. I have seen this happen in real life. But guess what? This is not just wishful thinking, it's actually deeper than that. Our brain has a way of hiding the truth from us if it means protecting our ego or helping us deal with anxiety. Like, you just tell yourself that this is the truth I want to believe, and you just stick to it. So, an example of self-deception is like when you say or you tell everybody and yourself that you're eating healthy, but then you are snacking throughout the midnight. Like, you forget about those midnight snack runs, and then you're just telling yourself you're eating healthy. Or you tell yourself that you're the most hardworking person in your office, but you just spent the last 2 hours scrolling through TikTok and IG. I'm sorry if I'm breaking your tables. But like, yeah, we're talking about the why, right? So yeah, self-deception is like a survival strategy. It's like a mental shield. It helps us avoid uncomfortable truths that kind of damage, or we feel might damage our self-image. So we just lie to ourselves and to others. Why do people lie even when they don't have to? You know, those kind of lies, or white lies, or whatever lies that you say when you say something and then you walk away and you're asking yourself, why did I even say that? Like, it was so unnecessary. Why did I say that? And then the thing with lying is that you have to now stick with the lie, because you cannot go back and say, oh, well, you can't go back and say you lied, but like, most people do not go back and say they lied. So they stick with the lie for forever. So yeah, why do we lie when we don't have to? The first one is habit. Some people have done this thing so much that it now becomes, or it feels so natural to them. It's like an automatic way of navigating the world. So like, it's normal. They don't feel like they lied. And lying can become a very smelly habit. Like, and everybody around you at some point would notice that you lie a lot. But to yourself, you're still deceiving yourself. So for you, it's like normal. The second thing I'm going to mention is that about why we lie when we don't have to is social pressure. We want to lie to avoid awkwardness, and to agree to things that we don't agree with, just to avoid that social awkwardness. And you don't want to feel like your opinion is different. But it's okay for your opinion to be different, except it's like a really, well, one thing is that sometimes people's original beliefs are very flawed in the social scale of things. So there are people that are like outliers when it comes to, or they are very prejudiced, sexist, racist, whatever. But they know that it's wrong to be that way. So they lie that they are not, just so that they can fit in and avoid social awkwardness. I've met a few people like that. The third thing I would like to mention about why we lie when we don't have to is control. People feel like they need to control a situation, and lying gives them a control over certain situations. It allows them to control how people see them, how certain conversations are stirred, and it allows them to manipulate outcomes. The funniest part of all this is that it's not always malicious. Sometimes people are bored and they feel like they need to have a little fun in their life. So they just lie when they don't have to make life feel a little less unpredictable. And in their mind, they're having fun. So yeah, the part that we've all been waiting for. How to spot a lie. That has over my life, that has come naturally to me. I can just tell when people are lying. So it's difficult to actually put it into words to kind of say how to spot a lie. But some things that I know that happens most of the time, there are some people that are pathological liars, so you would not be able to tell. But like for people that are still learning learning work, these are some of the things to watch out for. The first one is like inconsistencies in the story. This one is quite an obvious giveaway because I mean everybody can tell when your stories are not straight. So you say a different thing every single time. If somebody's story keeps changing or they can't keep their facts straight, that's a red flag. Like you don't need any psychologist. I'm not a psychologist, but you don't need any psychologist to tell you that. You just know. Second thing to watch out for is body language. Pay attention to what people are doing. So if you've been talking to somebody for 1 hour straight, you would notice when there's a change in their behavior. Are they starting to feel like act uncomfortable? So fidgeting, touching their face, looking away. Imagine that you've been talking to somebody that has been looking you in the eye all night and suddenly they are looking away or avoiding eye contact. These are some things that you can notice. But you need to be careful with this one because sometimes people are naturally nervous, and because they are doing these things that I just mentioned doesn't mean that they are lying. So I think the context matters as well. The third thing to look out for is over explaining. You know how I mentioned earlier that some people are just having fun when they lie. So yeah, so you should look out for when somebody is trying to over explain a simple thing and they're just making up the little details when that's not how they usually speak to you. So yeah, sometimes liars feel the need to over explain to make their stories more believable, and this is something that you should watch out for because if somebody just suddenly starts to give away unnecessary details, they might be trying to cover something up, especially if this is not the normal pattern of like communication between you. The fourth thing, is it third or fourth? Well, the next thing to look out for is defensiveness. If somebody suddenly becomes so defensive and hostile or aggressive after you've asked them a simple question, you should look out for that. I feel like these tips I'm giving away is going to breed better liars. Because people can take these things I'm mentioning and perfect their acts so much that you can't even catch them. I mean, there are many other ways to detect liars. These are just a few because I don't know how I know, but I just know. So these are the things that I can just point my fingers at. The last one I'd like to mention is tone of voice. Sometimes this one is a little subtle, so you need to actually kind of know them to be able to tell. So people's tone of voice can change when they're lying, and they can just become more high-pitched or speak faster just so they can get over with it and change the topic. So yeah, I also want you to know that none of this is foolproof. Sometimes people just act weird, different from how they normally behave because they are nervous or because they have something else going on with them. So yeah. Or maybe you just believe the lie, because what's the worst that can happen when you believe the lie? But if you are able to spot maybe all of these things I mentioned at once, then maybe you need to dig deeper. So yeah, we've come to the end of these videos. We've talked about why people lie even when they don't have to, the psychology of like self-deception, of dishonesty. We've talked about how to spot a lie, and yeah. So I need you to tell me, you guys please indulge me now. I need you to tell me in the comment section What is the silliest lie that you've ever been told? And how did you find out it was a lie? Keep it fun. Maybe the most ridiculous lie you've ever told yourself. We listen, we don't judge, right? So yeah, like this video, please share with your friends and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Please encourage me by liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I would see you in the next video. I'm going to end this video by saying thank you to everyone who is watching my video. I appreciate the time that you're putting into this. I would like for you to leave a comment about topics you want me to talk about, and I would listen. I would really try. So thank you.